Hey everyone, my name is Mark Wessels. I am the author of the Fresh Approach series of books. Fresh Approach to Snare Drum, Fresh Approach to Mallet Percussion, Beginning Percussion, Drum Set, all of that stuff. And I'm here today to bring you the ATSSB 2025 All-Region Tryout Material for, of course, mallets. Standing right here. What this video is going to be is a learn the music tutorial on how to play the piece. Now, we're not going to cover the higher levels of phrasing and how to really practice this. What we're going to do, what I'm going to do is basically spoon feed you the music. I'm going to go a beat at a time, 2 beats at a time, a measure at a time. We're going to get through this entire piece over the course of this really long video. Now, I say spoon feed. I always called it spoon feeding when I was teaching my students 1 measure at a time. You certainly can do this on your own. You don't need this video. If you can read music and you have the ability to go in and go through measure by measure and learn it on your own, you certainly can do that. But this is the help video that I can show you the combinations of stickings. I can show you the patterns that develop as we do this, and then during the course of the video, with the music on the screen, with the keyboard, and me breaking it down, even if you're not a great sight reader, you're going to become much better at reading as we go through. So I really encourage you to take this video, bookmark it. You're not going to get through the entire video in 1 session. You're not going to learn the entire piece. The entire piece is 20 measures long, and it is, in my estimation, something that's pretty difficult because it has just a lot of 16th notes. Well, only 16th note. It never lets up. It never gives you a break. You have to get all the way through this without making mistakes, without slowing down, speeding up, missing notes, all of that stuff. What I'd love to be able to do is, as I'm teaching this and I'm breaking down a beat or a measure at a time, I'm going to have the music on the screen and the keyboard. What I'd like you to do is say the note names with me as we do that at the very beginning, and then finger along either on your keyboard, or you can do this on your laptop. Great thing to do is to have it on an iPad in your lap, and you can actually finger through this on the keyboard that's on the screen. And as you get used to this, you don't even really have to have a marimba at home, but it's certainly helpful to go through this and not only learn the notes, but then get used to the stickings and get used to the motions of the hands. All right, so we're going to start right away. I'll pepper in a few little practice tips and different things along the way so it doesn't get too incredibly boring. But this is really meant for you to start on your first day learning the music. There are helpful jump links in the description, the copy below the video, that you can quickly come back at any time, jump to a measure that you need to learn, and then go as long as you can in your practice session, then come back, jump to the next measure. All right, let's start at the very beginning. If you see the music on the screen, there are 16th notes in my first 2 measures. All right, the key signature tells us no sharps, no flats, so all of the accidentals will be written in the music for you. All right, the first thing that we're going to do every time that we learn a new measure is say the note names. So I've got a metronome, got some earbuds, and I'm going to put the metronome on 60. And first I want to go through the first 2 beats of the measure and of the first measure and say the note names. Now, if you're not really good at this, you'll really become much better at reading if you go through this and do this with me. 1, 2, ready, go. C, D, C, B, C, D, E, D, F. Now, we can memorize that. It's pretty simple to do. If you memorize it, then you're going to have a lot of music to memorize over the course of time. Now, if you're going for actually making region or making state, I would really highly encourage you to memorize it, because there's no way you're going to be able to keep your eyes on the music and hit all the right notes. I mean, I tried it, but I can't do it. So I just memorize it as I go. Now, what I'm doing with my sticking, just like I do with my beginners, is that I play piston strokes. As I'm playing faster and faster, I don't have to think of one hand being above the other, all right? As I'm striking and the mallet is moving up, the other mallet just gets out of the way. So let's play the first couple of beats a couple of times, 60 beats a minute. C, D, C, B, C, D, E, D, F, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. 2, ready, and go, and. Now, when we get to beat number 3 and beat 4, notice that it is a pattern. I have gone from E and D, F and E, now G and F. So if I go back just a couple of notes to E, D, F, E, G, F. So you see those are kind of a stepwise motion. You're going to see this a lot through the piece. So starting in the beginning, I'm just going to add those 4 notes. 1, 2, ready, go. One, 2, ready, and go, and. All right, and then to finish off the measure, I just go straight down the scale. Now, this whole measure has no accidentals, so once I get to G and F, I just go straight down E, D, C, B, A. This is an important measure because once you learn this measure, we're going to play this a million times. Well, I think maybe 4 times through the entire piece. So the piece is only 20 measures long, so if you really get this first measure down, you have 4 of those measures done. Let's try that whole measure. 1, 2, set and go. And C, D, C, B, C, D, E, D, F, E, G. Straight down the scale. All the way to A. Do it again. 1, 2, set and go, and. So let's move that up to 70. We're going to do that same thing. This is the way this video is going to go. We're going to do a measure. We're going to play it a couple of times. You can memorize it if you want to, all right? And then we're gradually going to speed it up. I'm not going to speed it all the way up because the tempo okay, is really fast. We'll do that much later, but we will get this down by rehearsing it the correct way with the correct sticking patterns, with the correct motions, with the correct notes, and then we'll gradually speed up. So 70, which is really 35 if you want to be really bad about it. 1, 2, set and go, and. Straight down the scale. All right, move the tempo up to 80. 1, 2, ready, and go, and. Now the motion becomes more even, up to 90. 1, 2, ready, and go. Last time at 100. 1, 2, set and go. What I want you to do is, after you've learned a measure a bunch of times and you've played it with me at whatever tempo, I want you to pause the video if you're on a keyboard and you're watching this on a laptop, or if you've got the keyboard and you're just fingering through on your laptop or an iPad, then I want you to practice that a bunch of times until you really feel comfortable with it, and you could actually memorize it if you'd like. And once you have that down, like I said before, we're going to play that measure again and again and again and again through this piece. So make sure that you have the first measure down perfectly. All right, so pause the video, practice that measure until you feel like you really have that down. Let's move on to measure number 2. Woo, this is tedious, but we are going to get all the way through this piece a little bit at a time. All right, you're going to get better at reading this as we go through, because I'm going to have you say the note names in each measure that we do it. So I really want you to do that. Say those note names on each one. So I've got my metronome on 60. So we're just saying one note per beat of the metronome. So here we go in the first 4 notes of measure 2. Ready? Go. A, B, A, G sharp, A. So the G sharp is going to be right below the A, G. So A, B, A, G sharp, A. And you can just practice touching those keys. Ready? And go. And A, B, A, G sharp, A. Again. Again. All right, so once you get that sticking down, let's do the next 4 16th notes. I'm going to start on beat 2 with the A, and then I go up the scale, B, C, C sharp, D. So C, C sharp, D. Now let's double time that. A, B, C, C sharp, D, and go, and again, go. So you notice that the left hand reaches up for that C sharp. So now we're going to put the first 2 beats together. So a little bit of a chromatic scale right there from the B. All right, B goes straight up to D. So play that with me. Ready, and go, and A, B, A, G sharp, A, B, C, C sharp, D. Again, ready, and go, and. Now this is another couple of beats that we're going to play a bunch of times through the piece, so make sure you get it down. Ready, and go, and. Now before we go faster, I want to just add that to the first measure. So the first measure plus first 2 beats of measure 2. So if you remember that first measure, ready, and go, and C, D, C, B, C, D, E, D, F, straight down the scale, A, B. How'd you do on that? Now you might want to pause the video and just practice that a bunch of times at this slow tempo. So when we put those measures together, remember I'm going from G straight down the scale, but I have to go up 1 for that B. All right, so just remember, up 1 for the B, down to G sharp, and then chromatic up to D. Do it one more time at 60. Ready, and go, and. Now go, leave your left hand on B, chromatic scale. Let's move it up to 70, where you're going to do that same thing. See how I'm adding pieces together. So don't just practice the second measure. That's good. But we need to add it together so that we can have a longer phrase. 2, ready, and go. C, D, C, B, C, D, E, F, G. If you can't do that, pause the video, just do that a few times, all right? The more that you do this, I guarantee you it's going to get easier and easier as we go through the piece, because you're going to see those repetitions, you're going to start recognizing scales, and it's just going to you're going to be able to put it together pretty quickly. All right, let's move it up to 80. And 1 and 2 and ready, go. Two, again, and go. All right, let's finish off this line. When we got to the B, C, C sharp, D, on the last two beats, let's say the note names. Go down to 60 again, say those note names. So I'm thinking D, E, D, C sharp. Now, even though the C is not sharp in the measure, that accidental carries through the measure, all right? So make sure that you play that C sharp. Do that again. We're on beat 3. Ready, and say the note names. D, E, D, C sharp, D, E. And then my last two beats are C natural, D, and we'll do it together. Say all of the note names in that last two beats. You might even touch the keys. Ready, go. D, E, D, C sharp, D, E, C natural, D, C natural. All right, see, the last C natural is not on the page, but it's great to do it. Now, as you're working through this, all right, so as I'm doing this, I'm making sure that there's a double right in there, and that's important. It's a great sticking to use, all right? So again, D, E, D, C sharp, D, E, C, B. Then you get to the B, which is going to be on the next line. All right, let's do that again. A couple of times. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, and go. Two, ready, and go. Two, last time, ready, and go. All right, just go ahead and hit that B now on the left hand. So let's play just the second measure. Remember, A, B, A, G sharp. And then we finish off with our last two beats. All right, let's see if we can do that whole second measure. 2, ready, and go, and. Two, last time, and go. All right, that's an important measure. We're going to play that measure a couple of times, or at least part of that measure a bunch of times, so really get that down. All right, so let's put the entire first line together. Say the entire first line, it's only 2 measures, but you get the idea. See, if you can read it, you can say the note names, you can finger along either on your iPad or on your screen, or play it on the keyboard with me. 2, ready, and go. And C, D, C, B, C, D, E, D, F, D, straight down the scale. Now, if you can't do that, that's okay. Sometimes the more your brain fills up with a bunch of notes that you're not used to playing, you just need to do it a bunch of times. So practice that first measure a bunch of times, practice that second measure a bunch of times, then put the 2 measures together. Now let's speed up the tempo a little bit. So it's not going to get easier unless you master something before you move on. So at any point in this video that you haven't mastered what we have just learned, pause the video and work on it on your own. Now we're at 70 beats a minute, just a little bit faster. Both measures. 1 and 2 and ready and go. And. All right, so we'll do that a few times, all right, making sure that we are hitting the accidentals in the very center. So if there's any of those kind of weird stickings that you're getting used to, if you play it exactly the same way every single time as we speed up and speed up, what we're actually doing is we're teaching our muscles what is actually happening. We're developing the kinesthetic sense of our hand and our body's relationship to the keyboard. That's going to make us accurate as we get faster. If you're not doing it exactly correct every single time, then you're actually messing up your kinesthetic sense. So develop that muscle memory right from the beginning. All right, let's move it up to 80 and see how you do. 1 and 2 and ready, go. All right, now, as we're playing this, you can start doing a little bit of phrasing. I would say dynamics, not really dynamics at this slow tempo, but phrasing. As we play this, it becomes natural if you start early working in your phrasing. What I tend to do on this phrase, I kind of crescendo as the line moves up, and then I diminuendo as the line moves down. And then I pretty much do the same thing in the second measure. All right, so you see how I'm just adding a little bit of phrasing. So you don't have to go overboard and go from piano up to forte, but just a little bit of swell and then diminuendo and then a swell and diminuendo. All right, let's do it one more time at 80. 1 and 2 and ready and go. Kind of adds a little bit of nice musical touch to there. Let's do it at 90. 1 and 2 and ready, go. All right, and then we'll finish off at 100. All right, this is actually 50 if you really want to think about it, because 100 would be bigga digga 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 digga. Certainly not going that fast right now, but I've got my metronome set on 100 with the subdivision, and that's every single 16th note. 1 and 2 and set and go. So this is a point where stopping the video and practicing that a bunch of times will make you really confident in those first two measures. All right. Like I said, that first measure has to be nailed because we're going to play that a bunch of times. Now this is incredibly tedious. I get it, but this is how you work up the piece. All right. So we've only done this for, I don't know how long the video has been so far, but that's two measures, and really the first measure you repeat 4 times, so that is 5 measures out of 20 measures. So if you do the math, you're a fourth of the way through, or a fifth of the way through, whichever. Not great at math. All right, let's look at the next line. I'm going to go measure by measure here. So in my first measure of the second line, measure number 3, I want to say those note names. All right, so I am thinking of my left hand, which finished off the previous line. All I'm doing is going straight up and down. I'm leaving my left hand on B, B, C, B, A, B. So say those note names. I'm going to put the metronome on just so keep us honest. Say those note names and you can finger through the first 4/16 notes. Starting on your left hand, go. B, C, B, A, B. Go. B, C, B, A, B. Notice how the left hand just stays here. The right hand just moves up and down between the C and the A. Ready, and go. Ready, and go. Now if you go ahead and look at the next beat, we stopped on the B, and then we move up to D with our right hand, so that's a third. So you're going to skip that C in between, and then straight down the scale to A, right? B, D, C, B, A. So say the note names on the first 2 beats. 1 and 2 and ready and go. Two, again, and go. Two, last time, and go. So most of the time the left hand hangs out on the B and the right hand does all the work, all right? Then we get to beat number 3, A, B, A, G sharp. All right, so there's my G sharp again. This time, because I'm on my left hand, I play that G sharp with my right. So say those note names and finger through. Beat 3, ready, go. A, B, A, G sharp, A. 2, ready, go. A, B, A, G sharp, A. Did you notice the pattern? That the left hand stays on the A and the right hand moves around between the B and the G sharp. Again, and go. A, B, A, G sharp, A. And then to finish off the measure, I go up to C, still C natural, and straight down the scale to my G natural for the next measure. All right? So say the note names in the second half of the measure, starting on beat 3. Ready, go. A, B, A, G sharp, A, C, B, A, G. So it kind of has a pattern that repeats itself twice. Right? When I'm on my B, it's my left hand staying on B. And this is exactly the same pattern, but down a step with my accidental. So we can play that whole first measure of the second line slowly. So I'm thinking of my left hand staying on the B, jumping up to D, then my left hand staying on A, jumping up to C, straight down the scale. All right? Let's take that slowly. I'll go 1 and 2 and ready and go and. Two, again, and go and. Now let's move that tempo up and do that measure. And 1 and 2 and set and go and. Two, ready and go. Move that tempo up again. And 1 and 2 and set and go. Okay, make sure you reach that right hand all the way to the center of the bar on that G sharp. 2, ready, and go. Last time at 100. And 1, and 2, and ready, and go. Let's move ahead to the next measure in the second measure of the second line. I'm not going to spend very much time on it at all because if you just look at it, it is a scale that goes straight up the scale and then straight back down the scale. So we don't need to say the note names on every single note. It's just a G major scale, and hopefully you know your G major scale. All right, the only difference is I'm playing a double left on the G, and then I go all the way up to B. All right, once I get to the B, I come straight back down. I use that F sharp to my C. All right, so if we can just learn that very quickly, I'll go back down to 60, but we should be able just to play that second measure. So left, left on G, straight up the G major scale, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, to B, straight back down to C. Here we go. 1 and 2 and ready and go and. All the way to B, straight back down the scale. 2, ready and go and. All right, let's move that tempo up a little bit to 70. And 1 and 2 and ready and go and. You see my phrasing? Naturally, as you go up a scale, you can add a little bit more dynamic phrasing to that and then diminuendo on your way down. So I think of it as a swell. Do it again at 70. 1 and 2 and ready and go. All right, move that up to 80. And 1 and 2 and ready and go. At 80, we can put both of those measures together. So see if you remember that first measure where the left hand hangs out on a B, and then it hangs out on the A, and then I have my double left scale. So let's go slowly, of course. Let's try it at 80. I think we can do this. And 1 and 2 and ready and go. Okay, when you move your left hand up, are you hitting in the center of the bar on the F sharp? 1 and 2 and ready and go. Let's move that tempo up. And 1 and 2 and ready and go. Two, ready, go. That's 90. Let's try it at 100. 1 and 2 and ready and go. Last time, and 1 and 2 and ready and go. Hopefully you're either playing along with me or fingering it. Don't just watch me play it. All right, you really want to be able to finger through, get the sound of the notes in your head as you're doing this at a very slow tempo. It's really, really important to keep your hands very, very relaxed. Okay, you really want to make sure that your hands are relaxed as you speed up, because when we get to be really fast, okay, and hopefully you can work on it at a really fast tempo, your hands have to be relaxed because we're going to be moving our hands all over the keyboard. All right, this is the end of your first phrase. All right, the first phrase is the first two measures of the first line and then the first two measures of the second line. If you look at the last measure of the second line, guess what we have? We're going to repeat that very first measure. But for right now, I just want you to stop so we can do our very first phrase. Let's go back to 60 and let's go back to the beginning and see if we can play the first phrase, first four measures perfectly. 1 and 2 and ready and go and. All right, it's really kind of hard to do it that slow. For me anyway, I have to think about every single note. And as I'm playing it, I start thinking about other stuff and I can lose myself in where I'm at. So let's speed that tempo up to 70. You should be able to at least get through that at that slow tempo. If you can't, pause the video, work it out a couple of times, all right? A little bit faster at 70. 1 and 2 and ready and go. All right, and moving that tempo up, let's go to 80. 1 and 2 and ready and go. And 90. 1 and 2 and ready and go. And last time at 100. So hopefully this is all flowing easier and easier the more that you do it. All right. So there's no secret sauce to this. There's no secret powder or pixie dust that I can put on you to make you be able to play this perfectly. You just have to do it a bunch of times. If you do it with the right stick motion and the nice relaxed hand motion all the way through, and you practice with a metronome, you will be able to get this, and you will be able to go much faster. Here we go, and at 100. 1 and 2 and ready and go. I just added that last measure in there because it's the same as the first measure. You can actually do that if you'd like. All right. So this is your assignment for the week. All right, you should be able to, for this week, 1 week, hopefully you're starting early enough and you're not having to cram all of this in at the last possible second before the tryout. But if you're starting at the beginning of school and this is your first week, take that, see if you can work it up to 100. Then just keep increasing the speed a little bit at a time. What I like to do is increase it by 10 beats a minute, or if you slow it all the way back down to 60 with 16th notes, 5 beats a minute, and see if you can play it at least 3 times in a row absolutely perfectly before you speed that metronome up. As you get faster and faster, you need to stay as relaxed as possible. And then always, now that you have this first phrase, these first 4 measures worked up, or even 5 measures worked up, then keep pushing yourself while you learn new measures. And see if you can get all of those right notes every single time you play. So, first phrase is done. Hopefully, you've actually gone all the way through this with me and you have mastered that first phrase, at least at a very slow tempo, and then come back. Don't kill yourself by going on and going on and going on. See if you can master that first phrase, come back to the video on another day, do the jump link to hit the phrase number 2, starting in measure number 5, the end of the second line. Okay, now we're ready for the second phrase, and this is really the first half of the second phrase. I'm not going to kill you by playing a lot of measures, which is really the second phrase, which goes from the end of the second line all the way until we do basically the repeat of in the middle of the 4th line. So let's just do measure at a time. Remember, at the end of the second line, we have the exact same thing at the beginning of this phrase, which is the same first measure. So hopefully you have that down. Now we're starting on line number 3. Now look at the very first 2 beats of line number 3, and it should be pretty familiar. All right, we've had that already in measure number 2, so we're just repeating that at the beginning of the 3rd line. A, B, A, G sharp, A, B, C, C sharp, D. So you might want to just review that, but if you have worked through that first phrase and you feel good about the first phrase, that should be easy. All right, now let's look at the second half of this measure and let's say those note names. All right, so we have D, E, F, F sharp, G. All right, so those first 5 notes starting on beat 3, say those note names again. You might finger through. Ready, go. D, E, F, F sharp, G. Now once I get to that G, I just go straight down the scale. G, F, E, D, C. Let's play those 2 beats. Starting on beat 3, I'm going to go slowly. Okay, so D, E, F, F sharp will be my left hand, G straight down the scale. Ready, and go, and. So my left hand has to go from F sharp back to F natural. Again, and go, and. All right, let's see if we can add that to the first 2 beats of this line. Starting on the A. Remember that? 2. Ready, and go, and. D, E, F, F sharp, G, F, E, D, C. So we have to get that F sharp in there and then straight down to G scale to C. And ready, and go, and. F sharp, F natural. All right, so your left hand has a little work to do. Let's move that tempo up to 70. 1 and 2 and ready and go. Faster at 80 and 1 and 2 and ready and go. Two, last time go. What you can do is go back to the beginning of the phrase, which is the last measure of the second line. And then put this in. All you have to remember is that we don't repeat the entire second line of the first measure. All right, we don't have that. We go up all the way to G. So we add that in there. So let's play the last measure of the second line, first measure of the third line. We'll do it at 80. And 1 and 2 and ready, go. D, E, F, F sharp, G. So it's really, really important that you get those last couple of beats in there. Everything else has been the same as what we did at the beginning of the piece. It's just those couple of beats that we have. Now we have something that's a little trickier. It's our first arpeggio, and our arpeggio is a chord that's broken up into individual notes. So we have to think of the arpeggio as being the D major arpeggio. So I ended on C, all right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go D, F sharp, A, C. So it's a D7 chord, if you really are into theory. So think of it as a chord. And you might just do that chord a bunch of times because you have to get it in your brain, all right? And then also with the kinetic sense of where your hands are playing that chord, because it's going to go by so fast that you're just basically going to reach down and play it. You're not going to be able to concentrate on every single note. So start on the C, ready and go. Ready and go, and. Now, if I know that chord pretty well, I'm going to keep going on the chord. I have a C, but now I'm going to go up to the F sharp, A, F sharp. All right? So after I play that chord, I reach up for that F sharp with my left hand, play an A, an F sharp again with my left hand. That sharp carries through the measure, and then go to C. So when I get to that, I just have to reach for it after my first chord. All right, let's go really, really slow. Starting on the C in the beginning of the second measure. Ready and go. Two, ready and go. Two, last time, go. One of the harder measures in the whole piece, all right? So you really have to do it a bunch of times until you get it perfect every single time, and your hands are learning the motion. You're learning that kinesthetic sense of how your hands, how far they have to move to strike every single note in the right place. Let's move that tempo up a little bit. 1 and 2 and ready and go. 2, ready and go. 2, last time, go. All right, so this might be a place that you pause the video and just do that a bunch of times. Now, I haven't really changed where I'm standing. All right, so I'm playing most of it by just kind of doing this, but when I have my D, I might sway a little bit to my left so I don't have to reach so far. All right, now let's see if we can add that in to what we have so far in this phrase, which is the last measure of the second line, first measure of the third line, you remember those last 2 beats, and then when I get to that note, then I have my arpeggio. See if we can get all the way through that. I'll slow that back down to 60. Here we go. 2 and ready and go. This should be easy for you. Now start thinking ahead to my change. Look ahead for your arpeggio. Were you able to get all the way through that? Let's do it again, but a little bit faster. And 1 and 2 and ready and go. Now think ahead. Now already think of your arpeggio. So you might want to practice that a bunch of times, especially because it's getting not only knowing the notes, but it's getting the motion of those strokes. All right, let's go ahead and finish off what's going to be this half phrase. It's just kind of a partial phrase in the middle of the other phrase. So all we're on is our top C, all right? So we're going straight down the scale, but do we have any accidentals that we need to make sure that we continue to play? Yes, we still have that F sharp. So it would be a C major scale, all right? But we've got to play that F sharp in here. That's pretty simple. Just remember F sharp, you got to skip the F natural. C, B, A, G, F sharp, E, D, C, B. So the F sharp will be with your right hand. Now let's back up a measure. Let's do that whole second measure of the third line. So I'm thinking of my arpeggio. And then the C scale with the F sharp in it. And then I end up on B. Let's go slow, 60 beats a minute, play that whole measure. Starting on the C with my arpeggio. Ready and go, and. Okay, so I can swell a little bit up and then diminuendo back down as I go up and down the scale. 2, ready and go, and. Now I can speed that up, and 1 and 2 and ready and go. Two, ready and go. Okay, I'm going to move faster, but don't go faster until you can play it perfectly every time. All right, you defeat the purpose if you play it wrong a bunch of times. You have to play it right at least 3 times in a row before you move the tempo up. 1 and 2 and ready and go. 2, last time go. All right, let's move the tempo up to 90 if you swear to me that you have it down. 1 and 2 and ready and go. 2, last time go. Okay, now we can put this phrase together. This is part of a longer phrase, but let's just call this phrase number 2. So we're starting at the end of the second line, and then we're going to play the first 2 measures of the third line. So 3 measures total in this phrase, but really only a measure and a half are new material. All right, we're still at 90, so we're starting here. Okay, hopefully you got that down. Just remember, at the end of that second measure, so it changes from the beginning. 1 and 2 and ready and go. Look ahead. Now arpeggio. Okay, was it perfect? Hopefully it was perfect. Let's see if we can do it at 100. 1 and 2 and ready, go. Look ahead to your arpeggio. All right, now that's at 100, which you should be able to play for at least this week, being able to get all the way through that phrase perfectly at 100. But the other part that you need to be doing is tying it back in to the first phrase. All right, so now we're going to play the first 2 phrases together. But if you don't have that second phrase down, make sure that you work on that first to where you can get through both of them. Now, the hardest part about this, even for me as I'm practicing at a much, much faster tempo, is keeping my brain engaged about what is coming next. It's very simple when you get in the middle of a measure that you know very well, is to let your mind wander over here to something else, and all of a sudden the music changes. You have something that should be repetitive, but it goes to a different phrase. You have to think ahead so that you can play those correctly. Otherwise, you'll just go, oh, where was I? Right? Unless you're reading the music off the stand. All right, let's try the whole beginning. First 2 phrases. 1 and 2 and ready, go. Second phrase. Now think ahead. Arpeggio. That is not easy, especially if you miss something in there. What I always like to do as I'm working on a new faster tempo is I try to play all the way through that. And if I miss something, I stop. I go a little slower and I practice just the part that I missed. Okay, maybe you need to back up a couple of beats. Oops. All right, and if you mess up, do it again until you can do 3 times, at least 3 times in a row perfectly before you move that tempo up. Then go back and put the whole thing together. All right, we're going to do it one more time. I'm going to speed that tempo up to 110. Let's see how we do. Okay, this is now still, it's not 110, it's 55, on our way to 132, believe it or not. Here we go. And 1 and 2 and ready, go. Think ahead. Now the arpeggio. See, I missed that C, which was what I missed the last time. So I'd probably go back and do that. A bunch of times until I feel like, oh, I've got this down. All right, one more time, we're going to do it at 120. See if you can get through the beginning all the way through the first two phrases. 1, 2, and 1, and ready, go. Think about it. I really made sure I was paying attention to hit that C in the proper spot. Okay, so that is this segment of the video. We've gone through the first two phrases. And really that second phrase is a half phrase because I have another two more measures to learn before I complete the phrase. But if you can get that much down, see if you can put it together with the first phrase from the very beginning all the way to there. See if you can push that tempo up beyond 100. See if you can push it up to 120. 120 would be halftime. So now we're at 60 beats per minute. 1 E and 2 E and 1 E and 2 E and then every time that we do a new phrase, we're going to push that tempo up a little bit faster, a little bit faster. In this video, we're not going to get all the way to 132, but at least we'll get fast enough that you will very confidently be able to try out and play all of the right notes. All right, so work on that and then come back. Hit the jump link button in the description to go to phrase number 3. All right, now we're on phrase 2B, which is the subphrase of the subphrase that we learned before. All right, so we're on the last measure of the third line. So we finished up our arpeggio. And now we are on that last measure of this line. So it starts off pretty easy. The first 4 notes, B, C, B, C, B, B, C, B, A, B. So we can just kind of play those first 4 notes. We had that before, but it was our left hand that stayed on the B. This time it's our right hand that stays on the B. And now, a little tricky because we have B, C, B, C, C. All right, so the first 8 notes, or 9 notes, first 2 beats of that measure, B, C, B, A, B, C, B, C, C. So my right hand just stays on that B until I have that last double C at the end. So let's move that down to 60. We're going to go really slow. And I just want to play those first 2 beats. Ready and go. Two, ready and go. B, C, B, A, B, C, B, C, C. 2, ready and go. All right, now really important just to get that down and get your mallets out of the way. So don't think of one hand above the other, because if you do that, then it's going to be very tricky to play the whole last part of the measure. So as I'm playing my C with my left hand, my right hand just moves out of the way. Okay? So we have that down. Now let's look at the hard part of the measure. And this is another hard measure of the piece. All right? Believe me, when we get later on in the piece, there are patterns that happen that make it really easy to go through a whole lot of beats in a measure with just doing the same pattern over and over. But for right now, you got to learn every single note. So we just finished. Now we have a D sharp. All right, so you might not be used to the D sharp, but we have to reach up here with our left hand to this note right here. All right, so this is going to be weird because I'm just going to add one note to what we already know. All right, because it's kind of strange, we have that double C to a D sharp. So let's just play that number of notes. How many of that? Six notes. Ready and go. B, C, B, A, B, C, B, C, C, D. All right, did you get that double C in there? That's a little strange, all right? And one of those things that you have to practice it the same way over and over and over, and then you won't have to ever think it about it again. But first you have to... You have to get that double C in there. All right, do it again. 2, ready, and go, and. Last time, go. All right, now let's add another note. And the reason why I'm going ultra slow on this is because it's a little strange. It's not really a chord. I guess it might be a chord. We're going to reach up and play the G sharp with our right hand. So we have that C, C, D sharp, G sharp. All right? So do you see how that works? B, C, B, A, B, C, B, C, C, D sharp, G sharp. So let's just add that one note. 1 and 2. Ready and go. And. Oh, I lied. Go ahead and add one more note. One more note would be that D sharp again. So I just go, when I get to that left hand on D sharp, right hand on G sharp, just play the left hand again. Okay, do that with me. At least finger through it on the keyboard, all right, on your laptop or on your iPad or whatever you have. Ready and go, and. C, C. Again, ready and go, and. Okay, now let's add a note. F sharp. So that's where it gets a little strange sounding. All right, we have that F sharp in there. Let's just add that note. Okay, now it's really important that you get this correctly every single time and that you get the sound of the correct notes in your head. All right, you're going to hear wrong notes later on when you start speeding up, but you got to have that sound in your head of the correct notes. Ready and go, and. Two, last time, go. C, C, D sharp, F sharp. All right, so have that down. Let's finish off the last 3 notes of the measure. I just repeat that D sharp on my left hand. So I just keep my left hand on that D sharp. And then I add D, natural, C, and B. B would be the next measure. All right? So you don't have to really think about much. You got that D sharp, G sharp, F sharp, D sharp again, and you got that. All right? So if you just think of those notes, and just do that a few times, we can just add that in there. All right, let's play the whole measure. Ready, and go, and. C, C, D, C, B. 2. Last time, go. C, C. So that might take a second just to play around and do it a bunch of times until you really feel comfortable. We got to get that sound in our head, all right, before we go on, all right? Now the next measure is incredibly easy. We finished off on the B, and now we just go down to F sharp. And then we can play that G again. So B, A, G, F sharp, G. So those are the first 5 notes of the first measure of line number 4. All right, try those first 5 notes with me, slow tempo. Ready, and go, and. 2, ready, and go, and. Now I'm going to add that to the measure before, and I'll show you why in a second. This just kind of makes sense to play together. 1 and 2 and ready and go. Now just keep going straight down the scale. So do you see how after I played the D, C, B, A, G, it's just one long scale. And then I add that F sharp to G. All right, so let's do that one more time. 2, ready, and go, and. C, C, D, B, G. All right, so if you recognize that as a scale pattern, it's pretty simple. Now, from here, looks hard, but it's not. It's just a chromatic scale that we're going to go from G up to F. All right, straight chromatic scale. So hopefully you know your chromatic scale. All right, once I get to that F, I have a couple more notes, D and then C. C would be the beginning of the next phrase. So once I get my chromatic scale down, I go up to F, D, C. F, D, C. All right. Now, we should be able to put both of those measures together. All right, this is the second half of phrase number 2. I just call it 2B. All right, let's try it. 2, ready, and go, and. D, C, B, A, G. Now, chromatic scale. F, D, C. F, D, C. Just remember that at the end of that chromatic scale. All right, let's try that faster. All right, 70 beats a minute. 1 and 2 and ready and go. Straight down the scale. Now chromatic scale. All the way to F. Okay, was it perfect? Let's do it again. 2, ready, and go, and. Chromatic scale back up to F, and then D, C at the end. All right, faster, 80 beats per minute. And 1 and 2 and ready and go. C, C. Straight down the scale, straight up the chromatic scale. Faster. 1 and 2 and ready, go. Okay, and last time at 100. And 1 and 2 and ready, go. All right, so that's the subphrase, because once I get to here, guess what happens? I've got that same first measure again. So I've automatically got the next measure, and we are over halfway through the piece. Woo! All right, so you really want to practice that subphrase of to be. Until you got it perfect, and then we can go back and play the whole second phrase. So the second phrase starts with that first measure that we all know and love, that your family will get really sick of hearing over and over. And then remember, we go from D up, C back down the scale, we have our arpeggio, C down the scale. Now we have our new subphrase. Chromatic scale. Then we have the whole thing. All right, so we're going to try this whole second phrase, A and B. I'm going to slow that tempo down one more time to 80. I don't think we have to go all the way to 60, but let's see if we can play the whole second phrase. This starts in line number 2, the end of line number 2. So we're going to get through this, and then as I run out of room, I'm going to start scrolling up. So hopefully you're reading the music. And 1 and 2 and ready, go. Now think ahead. Looking at my arpeggio, C down a scale with the F sharp, new, C down the scale, now up the chromatic scale. All right, so that would be the whole second phrase. All right, first phrase we've done a bunch of times, that is the entire second phrase. So let's speed that up. Just a second phrase. So this is a thing that you can practice just to really nail the second phrase down before we go put the whole thing together. 1 and 2 and ready, go. Arpeggio. Think ahead. Okay, then we're going to play that again. All right, let's do it one last time at 100, and then we'll go all the way back and add the whole thing together. And 1 and 2 and ready, go. All right, now you can kind of add your little swells in there as I'm going up the scale, swell up, and as I'm going down the scale, diminuendo a little bit, just to add a little bit more musicality to it. So at this point, what you need to do is stop the video and work through that second phrase, part A and part B of the second phrase, until you can play that naturally without really having to think about it too much. Now I'm going to speed that tempo up to 120, which would be 60 beats per minute normally. And we're going to go back to the beginning and we're going to try to add all of that together all the way through to the third phrase. Well, here we go. And 1, 2, run and go. And think ahead. Arpeggio. Chromatic scale. All right. And last time, I'm going to move that up to 65 beats per minute and see if we can get through this. And 1, 2, and ready, and go. And think ahead. Chromatic scale. So before you go on to the next phrase, what I really encourage you to do is really nail down each one of these phrases individually. You can play that first phrase a bunch of times. You can play 2A, the first part of phrase number 2, the second part of phrase number 2. Play each of those separately a bunch of times until you can play the entire second phrase together. Then put the whole thing together and then start speeding up that tempo, because we really want to start pushing yourself until you can go faster and faster. But it's a process and you have to enjoy the process. What I can tell you, that is, if you've made it this hard, you've made it through most of the hardest material in the entire etude. If you've hung with me and have done that, it gets easy from here, I promise. But I really want you to perfect all of that before you go on to the next phrase. So practice that for a week or so. Make sure that you can play it at least 3-4 times in a row at 65, 70 beats a minute perfectly, and then come back to this video, hit that jump link for phrase number 3. Okay, now we're ready for phrase number 3, which is really from here to the end pretty easy to learn. There's a lot of really long scales, there's a lot of long patterns in this segment, so we'll be able to get through this pretty quickly. Unlike a lot of the other stuff that we had to painstakingly go note by note, these measures have a lot of scale patterns, so we'll just kind of clump everything together and then be able to learn it quickly. All right, so we finished our last phrase, and like I showed you in the last phrase, we go directly back into the first melody that we learned on the measure number 1. So our last phrase we do that measure again. So I'm not going to cover it again. Hopefully by now, if you've been practicing the beginning, you have that down. So where we're starting in line number 4, the second measure is that measure that we've learned before. All right, and then the last measure of that phrase, if you look at it, it's just one long scale from A, where we stopped, we come down to D, and then we play a scale up, but you see the one accidental that we have. So A, D, E, F, G, A, B, C sharp. So there is one accidental C sharp that you're going to play with your left hand. So if we take it slowly and we think 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay, let's just stop on that C sharp. Start on the A, down to D, straight up the scale, play that C sharp. Ready, and go, and. So if you can go for that C sharp with your left hand, then you continue up the scale, D, E, F, G, A. Do not play the C natural, play the C sharp instead with your left hand. So now we can play that entire measure. Well, not the entire measure, but at least the first 3 beats. Ready, and go, and. One more time. Ready, and go, and. All right, let's go ahead and finish off the line. So we're on the A. Notice that I skipped the G. So I just have F, E, D, C. C is the beginning of the next line. All right, so as you play that scale, as soon as you get to the A, just remember you have to skip that G and then go right back down the scale from F, E, D, C. All right, so let's just add that in there. Ready, and go, and. Skip the G. Okay, now we can speed that up a little bit. 1 and 2 and ready, and go, and. C sharp. Skip the G. Okay, faster. And 1 and 2 and ready, and go. Okay, C at the end. And one more time. 1 and 2 and ready, go. Okay, so you can see a little bit of that swell that I have there. That is, as I go up the scale, I can swell up, and then as I'm coming back down the scale from there through the next measure, I can diminuendo. All right, let's add that first measure of this phrase. We're starting in the second measure of that line, and go add that measure. 1 and 2 and ready, and go. So not hard at all. You just have to play it a couple times. The hardest part, for me anyway, as I was learning all of the other phrases start with that measure. The hardest thing to do is remember which is the next measure. So in the first measure that you play, all right, the next time you play it, and now this time you play it, all right, so you just have to remember the third time you play, the third phrase that starts with that measure. Now we're doing this. All right, let's go on. As we're moving down, you can see that I just played that C, B, and I go up to E, and notice it's just a scale down to F sharp. So let's add that. Let's go from the measure before. And add that C, B, E scale down. Take it with a metronome. Keep me honest. And 1 and 2 and ready, and go. Keep going down. E, down. Okay, so like I said, we can learn a lot of this pretty quickly because it's a lot of scale stuff. All right, so we're on beat 3. So all we're doing is F sharp, G, F sharp, A, G, F sharp. Okay, so try that with me. Ready and go, and. Now, notice the next beat 4, next 4 16th notes is straight up the scale again. Now I play all the way to B. So F sharp, G, A, G, F sharp, G, A, B. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So do that. Ready and go. And then you're going to come right back to A on the next note. Again, ready and go, and. 2, ready and go, and. All right, so as I'm coming down, right into that. Now we can back up and play the measure in front, and now this entire measure 12. Here we go. Starting on the A, 1 and 2 and ready and go. C sharp, skip the G, E down the scale. One more time, 1, 2, ready and go. Skip the G, E down the scale. Now you can go back and add that first measure in there. Okay, I encourage you to practice with a metronome. Don't just do it freestyle like I just did, but practice those 3 measures together a bunch of times, starting with the metronome very slow until you can nail it at least 3 times in a row. Now let's look at our next measure, measure number 13. Now I am tracing the F major arpeggio. So this entire measure is built on F, A, C, F. It's kind of funky with the way that the arpeggio is structured. So let's figure this out a beat at a time. So we just finished. Now we're at the A. So we're in the middle of the arpeggio. A, C, F, C, A. All right, so the first 4 notes are the arpeggio starting on the 3rd. A, C, F, C, A. So you might do that a couple of times. The next 4 notes are just A, C, A, C. What's difficult about it is the sticking. That we are starting with right, left, right, left. You still have to go right, left, even though the A is lower. You might do a double sticking. I tried a couple of different sticking options on this. It really, based off of the speed of the etude, you're not going to have a lot of time to do a double sticking in here. So I would just recommend starting with right, left, right, left. So all you're going to do is add A, C, A, C to that. So A, C, F, C, A, C, A, C. Ready and go, and. Ready and go. Now it's really hard because your right hand has to move down to the F. So now we're going to add that F. All right, see if you can just add that F. 2, ready, go. 2, ready, go. Now notice it's the F major arpeggio, but now I skip the C. I have F, A, F, C. All right, so a little broken on the arpeggio. All right, so you might just practice beat 3, those 4 notes, F, A, F, C. F, A, F, C. All right, so we have to skip that C on the way up, but hit it on the way down. Play those 4 notes. Just count 3. Ready, and go, and. Ready, and go, and. So we have the first 3 beats, A, C, F, C, A, C, A, C, F, A, F, C. That is tricky, and that's one of those things that even I, as I'm working it up and trying to get it faster and faster, it's one of those things that I have to practice a lot. So you have to work through that a bunch of times until your hands feel natural playing that. So let's just do it a few more times. 1 and 2 and ready and go. All right, and let's go ahead and add beat 4, which is our arpeggio again. All right, so we just add A, C, F, C again when we get to that part. It would have been nice if it was just straight arpeggios, but he put that little trick in there to keep you honest. All right, let's try it again, very slowly. 1 and 2 and ready and go and. All right, one more time. 1 and 2 and set and go. Let's speed that up a little bit just because that is a really, really important measure that a lot of percussionists are going to miss on the tryout. So I want to take that, let's take it at 80 and just play it a few times. 1 and 2 and ready and go. So if we want to go ahead and stop on the next note, which is a B, we can do that. Again, 2, set, and go. All right, a little faster. And 1 and 2 and set and go. What I would recommend for you practicing this is not starting there, but actually starting 2 beats in front of that. I have found that this is that transition that's a little bit tricky to get in from the 2 beats in front of it to getting that chord correct. So let's just start 2 beats in front of that on the F sharp. And then get that A, C, F in that next measure, all right? Let's just play that much. 1 and 2 and ready and go. That's incredibly important, getting that A, C, F after the F sharp, G, A. 2, ready and go. 2, ready, go. Now let's go ahead and finish off the F arpeggio measure and stop on B. Starting in the same place though. 1 and 2 and ready, go. Now I'm going to leave you to practice that. I would, if I were you, stop the video and practice that a million times. I always say a million times. As many times until you can play it in your sleep so you can be entirely comfortable with that. What we're doing is teaching our hands the motion as we're speeding up. Our hands learn that motion, and then by the time you're getting to be fast, you don't really think about it anymore. Okay? And as you get faster, now this is the one time I will tell you that you're not going to have enough time to just get your hands out of the way. So if you saw me as I was playing faster, you saw me actually move my right hand above my left hand. And I'm exaggerating just a little bit. Just moving my left hand back a little bit so that my right hand can get all the way down to that F, because it happens really, really fast. All right, so I'm going to leave you to practice it. I really recommend that you just pause the video, play that measure a bunch of times. Now we're going to go ahead and go on, because the rest of this phrase are arpeggios of different chords. So it's pretty easy to learn. If we look at our last measure of this line, measure number, what is that, 12, 13, 14, measure number 14, we first have B, D, F. B, D, F. All right, that's pretty simple. You're just skipping every other note. B, D, F, D, B, D, F, D. All right, play that. Ready and go, and. Again, my left hand has to get out of my way of my right hand as it moves below it. There's really no good double that you can do. In the last half of that measure, notice it's that same B, D, but the top note is G instead of F. All right, so I'm playing a G major chord here, G7 and then G. So B, D, F, B, D, F, B, D, G, B, D, G. All right, see if you can play that with me. 1 and 2 and ready and go. And then you go right back to B. All right, let's do it a couple more times. 2, set and go. Do you feel comfortable with that? All right, let's move back to our transition measure in measure number 12. We have the F chord, then the B, D, F, B, D, G. Let's see if we can put that much together. All right, we're starting on beat 3 of measure 12. 1 and 2 and ready, go. Now B, D, F, B, D, G. So if you have practiced that measure 12 transition into measure 13, then the rest of this is pretty simple. All right, let's move it forward and look at our next line, 12, 13, 14, 15. This entire measure is 4 notes. We have our B, but instead of playing D like we did in our last measure, we're going to play C, but we're keeping that G on top. That's pretty simple, right? So the measure in front, B, D, F, B, D, G, then I just move my left hand down to C, and I play that for 4 full counts. So let's start in the last measure of what is the top line here, and the first measure, which is my B, C, G. So B, D, F, now G, now left hand moves to C. So all you have to do is just remember your chords B, D, F, B, D, G, B, C, G. All right, try that again. 1 and 2 and ready, go. Right hand moves to G, left hand moves to C. And you just have to remember that BDF is 2 counts, BDG is 2 counts, BCG is 4 counts. All right, we're going to do one more measure. If you look at it, it is the F chord again, but now A, C, F. We do that twice, all right? And then we move to our B, C, G. All right, kind of a funky chord progression, but what we have, A, C, F, B, C, G. Let's see if we can get all of that in. So I'm starting on my B, D, F, B, D, G, B, C, G, and then I have my F chord for 2 counts, and then my B, C, G again. So it's just a matter of remembering what all of these are. All right, let's try it. Here we go. 1 and 2 and B, go. B, D, G, or B, D, F, B, D, G, B, C, G, 3. Now F chord at B, C, G, and then we're going to stop on the A. One more time, we'll go slower. 1 and 2 and ready, go. B, D, F, B, D, G, B, C, G, 3, A, C, and F, B, C, and G. And then stop on your A. Woo! So this is almost the entire phrase. We got 2 more counts, but let's go all the way back for our transition measure. Remember each one of the chords. F chord, starting on A. B, D, and F. B, D, and G. B, C, and G. A, C, F. B, C, D, G. A at the end. All right, let's see how you do. We'll go slow. 1 and 2 and ready, go. So there's a lot to remember in there, but if you'll think of the block chords, all right, as opposed to each individual note, it gets pretty easy. All right, let's do 2 more counts, and then that'll be the end of the phrase. And guess what? We're going to play our first measure again. This time it doesn't happen at the beginning of the measure, it happens on count 3. But 2 more counts. So the first 2 counts of the last measure of this line, A, G, F, E, F, A, G, F, E, F. All right, so that's pretty easy. It's just A down the scale, back to F. Now, for me personally, one of the hardest measures to get perfect every single time is this chord, which is a G7 chord if you're a music theory aficionado. So it's every other note, which is pretty simple to remember, just kind of hard because you're playing all of these different broken chords, this little scale, and then you have that broken chord or the arpeggio, and then you go right back to C. So let's play the first 2 counts of this measure. A, G, F, E, and then every other note, F, D, B, G, and then end up on C. Very slowly. Ready, and go, and. Now every other note. 2. Again, and go, and. 2. Again, and go, and. 2. Last time, go. Now we just have to remember from the measure before how to get into that. We have our broken F chord, A, C, F, B, C, G. Now we have those next two counts, and then our broken G7 chord. So let's try those two measures together. So I'm starting on my F chord, broken chord, B, C, and G, and then add those two counts. Ready, and go. And B, C, and G, straight down the scale. Okay, again, 2, ready, and go. All right, that's another little mini phrase that I like to practice a bunch of times just to get that in my head so I can hear that tonality, and then I can play all of those notes right. All right, so this is an entire phrase here. So we're going all the way back, scrolling back up to the melody part that we have at the beginning. Now, you just remember here that we go down from A, instead of playing like we did before, we're going to play the A down to G, C sharp, E down the scale, and then we have our transition measure. Now, F chord, B, D, and F. Move the right hand up to G, B, C, and G for 4 counts, A, C, and F, B, C, and G, A down, and then every other note. Okay, that's all broken up. So you might want to just stop the video and practice that a few times. I'm going to go slow. We're going to try this entire phrase. Let's see how you do. 2, ready, and go. While you're playing this, think about what's coming up. A, D, straight up the scale, use the C sharp. Skip the G on the way down. E, now F chord. B, D, and F. B, D, and G. B, C, and G. For 4 whole counts. A, C, and F. B, C, and G. Every other note. Woo! At that slow tempo, it's kind of tough just to remember everything. So let's move it up to 80 and let's try that whole thing again. Ready, and go. F chord, B, D, and F, B, D, and G, B, C, and G, and faster. And 1 and 2 and set and go. So we're going to go all the way back and play that melody again. All right, so this phrase, pretty hard because it's really tough to get all those notes really accurate, because broken arpeggios always have a certain sound to them, because when you start playing fast, it sounds like a chord when notes starts ringing together. But it's pretty easy to learn. You just got to keep all those notes in your head correctly all the way through. All right, so what I would recommend is practicing that until you feel really comfortable, especially with the being able to play that first measure and then thinking ahead. Tougher than it looks to play every single note correctly as you're playing through that phrase. So really work on that, especially that first measure is incredibly hard. And practice that F chord a lot, because that will be the one that's the most difficult. It's kind of tricky as you speed up, getting that right hand around the other, around the left for all those low notes of the broken arpeggios. So easier to learn, harder to play. Spend a lot of time practicing on that phrase. Then, as with everything, go back to the beginning. Make sure that you're linking all of these phrases together. What you're going to find is the longer period of time that you play, you're going to start having some brain freezes as you play this really long etude at a slow tempo, remembering every single phrase and how it ties from one to the next and not getting your phrases confused. So really practice on all of these phrases together, and we just have one more phrase to learn, but get this down first before we finish up the tune. Okay, this is our last phrase, and a lot of this is very simple because it's almost the same as what we've had before. So we've had this melody. Guess what? We have it again. It starts on beat 3 of the top line here, and then moves to the bottom line. But we also add in, remember that from the very first phrase. So I want to put those two together. So I'm starting on beat 3, going all the way through the next measure. So 6 whole counts. 1 and 2 and ready, go. All right, now this is where it gets a little funky because it's so similar to the first phrase, it's kind of hard to remember. We are on count 1 of that second measure, so D, E, D, C, B. All right, so not hard. We just have to remember when we get there not to go back to that C sharp, just C natural B. All right, so let's try that. Starting on beat 3 of the bottom line here. Go down to that B. 1 and 2 and ready and go. Almost reached up for that C sharp. Remember, C natural on the way back down. Do it again. 2, set, and go. Now we can add that to the first measure. We're actually count 3 of the measure in the line above, which is our melody. 2, ready, and go. Think ahead. All right, it's so similar to the second measure of the piece. This is where I usually mess up because I'm not thinking ahead. All right, so just a few more notes to get to the end of the song, we have, we stopped on that B. So we were thinking B, D, G. So that's my arpeggio. And I go right back to the B. B, D, G, B, C. All right, so let's play those 5 notes very slowly. B, D, G, B, C. Again, and go. And go. And go. All right, so now I'm just going to add those 4 notes to my phrase that I have, or mini phrase. All right, do that with me. 2, set and go. 1, C, B, D, G, B, C. 2, ready and go. 2, last time, go. All right, now if you've gotten that far, if you see the rest of that measure, I just played my C. So all I'm doing is a C major scale, no accidentals, from G to G. All right, so I just add that. That's pretty simple. So we don't have to read every single note. We just see, the pattern. It's just a scale pattern that goes from G up to G. All right, so let's add that. So again, I'm starting on beat 3 of this bottom line. 2, and ready and go. Straight up the scale. All right. Last time, 2, set and go. All right, and my last measure. Now we have a little funky sticking to work out, but it's pretty simple. In most cases, we'll slow down just a little bit to add a little bit of a retardando to make the ending really nice and pretty. But let's see if we can keep it in tempo. We're starting on a G, F, D, B, C. All right? B, C will be left, left. Do it again. G, F, D, B, C. Again. G, F, D, C. Again. Last time. So we have to kind of think of that as a chord. All right. If you think of it as a chord, it's pretty easy to remember. G, F, every other note, and C. All right. So as we're coming up our scale, once you get to your scale, you just have to remember, as I'm working my way back down, it is a broken arpeggio, not a chord or not a scale. All right. So, and then we have our last 3 notes, G, E, which will be a double right, and then the left hand on G, and then we roll on our C. Yes, so we have G, E with our right, right, G, C, left, right. All right, the easiest thing to do is to put the whole last measure together very slowly. You can think of the note names. I'll go really slow. G, F, D, B, C, G, E, G, C. All right, so B, C, G, E. It's pretty simple once you get the hang of that left, left, right, right, and then you add to the end. All right, let's try that last measure slowly. 2, and ready, and go. 2, and ready, and go. 2, and ready, and go. 2, ready, and go. Now back up 2 counts and let's put it with the scale, because it's easy to play that last couple of measures a bunch of times and you get that in your head, but when you go from the scale, that transition is sometimes tough. 2, with the scale, starting 2 counts before, ready, and go. A little faster, 2, and ready, and go. 1, 2, ready, and go. Yeah, we put a little bit of retard on though. Kind of helps, especially when you're playing fast with those double strokes. Nice, slow down. You can play it straight in tempo, but it needs a little bit of musicality to finish off the etude. All right, so now we have this entire phrase, which we can start in the line before on count 3, and then we just remember all of our good stuff, especially not a whole lot in there. It's very short, but a lot of different notes that are very similar to the beginning, so it's kind of a mind puzzle that you have to figure out. All right, but let's try it at a slow tempo, and then we'll get all the way through to the end. All right, and 1, and 2, and ready, and go. Now start thinking ahead. Scale. Left, left, right, right, left. All right, how'd you do? Probably, because I ran through that pretty quick, probably not great. So you probably just need to stop the video and practice that very slowly. Putting all those little pieces together in your head. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. Getting all those pieces in the correct order every single time is kind of hard. A little bit faster. And 1, and 2, and ready, and go. Start thinking ahead. Scale. Left, left. And faster. 1, and 2, and ready, go. Think ahead. You can slow down just a little bit, and 100 beats per minute, which is really 50, but 1, and 2, and ready, go. Okay, so to finish up the piece in this last phrase, piece it together, all right? It's not really that hard, but you do need to put those puzzle pieces together to get the entire phrase, and just do it a million times. Like I said, with every part of this etude, you just need to do it a million times until you feel very comfortable. You can think phrase, 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 and then you start putting those phrases together. That's the way to work on it if you were thinking of it. But always go slow. If you start messing up because of the tempo, it's one thing to mess up because you have a brain freeze in the middle of practice and you just forget where you're at. That's one thing. But if you're missing notes, and especially if you're missing notes on it with a pretty good frequency, you need to slow that tempo down, isolate those measures that are causing you the problem so that you can get that perfect before you speed it back up. So that's the end of the tutorial video. In my next video, I'm going to play through the entire etude at a slow, I should say slow, medium, fast, but I'm going to kind of go slow and then work my tempos up so you can play along with me. It really is about getting the mental capacity to get all the way through this without making mistakes. Now, I really doubt that your audition is going to be playing the entire piece. Usually they pick a cut of it, but you need to be able to start at any point, any place within the etude to be ready for your audition. And then once you finally get to state, I guarantee you're going to play the whole piece because it goes by very, very quickly, especially when you get that tempo up. So good luck with this, and hopefully you can join me in the other videos and learn the other etudes for the tryout material.